Alrighty, welcome to our mid-year Q3 data date walkthrough. So for those of you who don't know what this is, what is she talking about data date? This is something I started to do a couple months ago where I wanted to show you guys how to invite your data, as in your Google Analytics and your Search Console data, into your planning, into your just everything in your business, your marketing, your content, maybe how you want to work with your clients, and take this into account when you're planning and when you're just creating great things for your business. So today I'm going to be walking you through how I am looking at my data for planning Q3. And this is I just want to say, this is kind of like a taste of what I do. So the actual thing takes over an hour and it's a little bit more organic. Like I like to kind of let myself go down the rabbit hole of Google Analytics within a certain time period. But because a lot of what happens in Google Analytics generates more questions, it's good to give yourself that time to, investigate further, maybe go back, look at other reporting. But this is designed to give you a nice starting point. And of course, we have Choco the cat here joining us. Excuse my messiness there. Okay, so let's jump in. So like I said, I'm going to be reviewing Google Analytics and the Search Console. And if you want to learn more about Google Analytics and how to use it more actively, I highly recommend you check out my Google Analytics 101 for business owners. That's my course. And then I have an even more in-depth course for web developers and virtual assistants that's called Analytics as a Service. And I actually teach you how to take Google Analytics and make a profit from it, and how to pitch it to your existing clients. So you can check out more of that on my website, digitalbloomiq.com, and just under courses, you'll see more about those courses. So the first step, which actually doesn't require the tool at all, and this is something I just recommend in general when you're looking at cold data, is think about what you're going to do with the data and what time frame you want to analyze the data from. So for me, like I mentioned, this is going to be for Q3 planning, and I've already done my Q3 review. So it's a good time to look at the data because I've already processed what I think went well in the last quarter and what I want to do in this next quarter. So you never want to approach data empty-handed, because data can be interpreted in many different ways. So if we just kind of look at the data and just want it to just tell us something, it's going to be really hard versus having an intention behind it, right? So for example, in my case, I am planning on relaunching a course this quarter. I'm also getting ready to do a bigger launch at the end of the year. So I have those things in mind. I am evolving some of my one-to-one SEO services, and that is going to be reflected on my website. So all those things are important for me to know, because then I can look at what pages are involved when it comes to those launches, when it comes to those services. I actually can write them down. I have some notes here. And what are the other micro conversions that happen before those launches or before the selling of the service? So this could be an opt-in. This might be just specific podcast episodes or specific blog posts. And so now is a good time for me to check the configuration of my goals, which, again, for those of you, maybe this is your first video, goals are in Google Analytics, ways to track our conversion. We can actually customize what Google Analytics tracks for us. So because we're starting the quarter, this is a great time for me to set this up and have this ready to go, so that when the launch comes and I start getting that data, I have the setup instead of reacting to it last minute, right? The other thing I might do is just make sure my e-commerce or any sort of integration tracking is working correctly. So I have Teachable, so I would just double check that Google Analytics and Teachable are sending each other the right data and that everything's looking good. Again, this is good time because when it comes time to actually analyze the data, I want to make sure that that's clean and everything is looking good. So that's the first step. And so many of you might be like, well, do I really need to do that? Yes, it's going to change how you analyze the data, and it's going to change just how you approach everything, because now I have all these ideas of what I want to look at the reporting, and it doesn't feel as overwhelming because I have this intention, I have this thought process around my launches and around my SEO services. And I really recommend just like writing down, these are the pages that I want to get traffic. These are the blog posts that maybe I'm designing to build that traffic. It doesn't have to be super intentional, but just giving you some ideas can help you then look at the data with more of that in mind. Okay, so the second step is we're going to actually look at our acquisition data. So you're going to go to acquisition, all traffic and channels. And so what this is it's telling me where are users coming from before visiting my site. So I'm actually going to look at the last 3 months of data, approximately 3 months and a half. We're already mid-July, crazy. And so what this report is telling me, it's a channels report, is it's saying to me, these are the places that people came from before landing on your site. So surprise, organic search for me is the top one. It accounts for 40%. And then I have direct, which is people typing in my URL. It could also potentially be email. Sometimes it catches under direct. Then referrals are other websites, and then social is social, Facebook, Instagram, anything like that. So right off the bat, it's interesting to look at, what are your percentages, like where are you getting the most traffic from? And many times, not all of this traffic, the channel that has the most traffic doesn't always convert the best. So if you do have e-commerce, or you have some goals set up, you can see my goals here are actually outdated. I need to update them. You'll be able to see here at the end of this table which of these channels converted as well. And I've seen in many cases, you might be getting a lot of traffic from social, but it doesn't always convert. And that's fine. That's just kind of the nature of different channels. And some channels are meant to attract people and not necessarily convert them. And other channels are more like that last touch conversion. So what are the metrics? Because I know a lot of people get confused. There's so many numbers happening here. So again, the first column is a great place to start. You just see the percentages. They're kind of smaller. You can see how much of the total are each of these contributing. And then the next column is interesting as well, because it tells us what percentage of these people are new users. So for example, in the case of organic search, that's a pretty high percentage of all these are new people. And so basically this allows me to think about how am I relating to this new user versus someone who's a return visitor? And so you can have a really separate strategy and a thought process around talking to someone who's never met you before, who's met you for the first time, versus a repeat. And it's totally normal to have different strategies, and you can even think about this as different channels. Like, so, maybe SEO is your new user channel. And then you end up getting them into email. And so that's maybe someone who already knows you well. Or social could be more of a repeat channel, while referral could be a new user channel as well. So you can just think about it a little differently. And this second column helps us identify the percentage of these people who are new users. So new users is a great metric. The other crucial metric that I really recommend you guys looking at is bounce rate. So bounce rate, all that says is when someone bounces is they landed on one page of your website and then they left. So that's a bounce. So the bounce rate is the percentage of visitors who viewed your website and then left, right? Just one page. So you can see here that, again, organic search has 84%, pretty high. Social is also high. And these are good things for me to note because there might be room for improvement here. And this could also lead to additional questions. So I could go in here and actually see which pages actually led to this bounce rate. And that would be the landing pages report. I'm not going to show you guys that, but that's another, basically this report really leads us to further questions and further reports to do more analysis. And then, like I was saying, the conversion is also a really great metric source because we can see how is each of these channels converting, and it can give us some food for thought of, what's really, making an impact in terms of opt-ins, maybe email signups. It could also be actual course sales if you have some integration set up. So what are the action steps here once I look at this report? And I always recommend having action steps because otherwise, you look at this and you're like, well, that's interesting. And that's it. And then you forget about it. And that's not what you want to happen with Google Analytics. You want to really have something that you're making sure that this information is getting absorbed and documented somewhere. What I like to do a lot of the times is I'll screenshot this and then I'll have a document in like just a Google Doc or a notes, and I'll just write my comments. And so that is something I can refer back to maybe in a month or at the end of the quarter, and I can use that as like information about the experiments I did. So one clear action with this information is I can revise my marketing plan and really look at what is performing well, what do I think is performing well, and what isn't performing well, and what do I want to improve on. So you could actually decide, you know what, I don't really want to improve on the things that aren't working well. I just want to keep working on the things that are already doing well. And that's a really good strategic decision. So in my case, organic search is accounting for a large portion of the traffic, and I want to keep doing that really well. And I might say, you know what, maybe referral traffic, I'm not super interested in developing that this quarter. Of course, it's good to have it's good to put intention into all the channels, but as we know, having priorities is usually choosing one or two of these and really doing it well. And like I said, you can totally choose to focus on something that's already working well and just keep kind of riding that wave. So let's get specific. So in terms of organic search, what can I do here? So I notice, like I said, the 84% bounce rate, that's pretty high. So next step for me might be, again, to go to the landing pages report, look at what pages have a high bounce rate, and then brainstorm which of these pages I could improve to then lower this bounce rate. And I could actually set a goal. I could say in the next quarter, I want to lower this bounce rate by maybe 5%. That's a lot, but let's say like 3%. And that could be a goal. And so then again, at the end of the quarter, I would come back to this report and look at what happened. And so this is a starting point, and then I recommend you take it more closely and more specifically. Something else you can do here is actually go and look at your campaigns, do some further investigation, not just in Google Analytics, but go back to your whatever documentation you use for tracking keywords or tracking your social marketing. And look at, what you think went well, and you can compare this. So just like another quick tip is here in the report range, you can do compare, and you can compare it to the previous period, or you can compare it year over year, which is kind of cool. I'm going to do previous period. And so here I can see the quarter 2 versus quarter 3. What's the difference? I did a lot better, it looks like. So here, I can look at my marketing material and I can say, what did I do differently? What did I improve? And then learn from that because the data is backing that up. So data is neutral. This is the truth, guys. And I know it's hard because you guys only see your data and I'm showing you my data here, but a lot of the times it's hard to get objective around it because you're just so used to seeing only your own site data. It is our interpretation of the data that really is where things get interesting. And it's when we combine what we know already about our current marketing and about what we think is going well with the data to read into it and to get insights and to just take it to the next level. Okay, so this is, like I said, the Google Analytics report that I use to start, and then I go in and get more specific. Specifically, landing pages is a nice next step. Okay, and then the search console, I wanted to show you guys. So the Search Console, if you don't have it set up, you can go to my YouTube channel. It's bit.ly dbiq YouTube. I'll put that in the show notes as well. And so there I have a video on how to set up the Search Console. It literally takes less than 2 minutes. It's super quick, and it's such a powerful tool because it's literally Google telling us how our site is ranking. So what do we want to do in the Search Console? So we want to go to our performance report, which is the one here. So you'll land on something like this potentially, and then performance is the first one, or you can get it here with on the left side. And so this basically, if you scroll down, you're going to see a bunch of words. These are your keywords. And so again, if you don't have a lot of data, you can open up the date range. I'm going to do the last 3 months of data. And so this is, just to start, it's interesting to see, what keywords you're already ranking in. It might already be your name or your brand. It could be some keywords that you're targeting. Maybe some of you have, some extensive SEO planning and strategy you have in place. And so that's great. So how would I take this report and make it relevant to my Q3? And how would I make it relevant to what I'm thinking of launching in the next quarter and the next half of the year? So the first thing I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to look at my marketing plan and look at what I'm launching and think about what keywords people might naturally be searching. So again, you could already be doing this intentionally. And if you're not, just think of the first thing you're selling. So for me, I'm going to be launching some courses. So I'm going to go here into query, new query. This is a filter at the top. And I'm going to type in course. So this is going to filter all keywords. Queries are searches that have the word course in them. And so here I can get some keyword ideas of keywords I potentially am already ranking in with the word course. So this is really interesting because even though I'm not even close to page 1 on any of these, well, this one, DIY SEO course, so here I'm on almost page 4. So that's interesting. So I can save this keyword and I can copy this and actually put it in my keyword strategy document, because this could be a keyword I could rank in. Now, it's not getting too many impressions, but it still gives me some ideas of things I could directly rank in when it comes to the landing page. I might even create a blog post depending on what it is. These are pretty clear and like direct intent keywords, so these would probably be a landing page. But again, this could give me some ideas of things to talk about even, right? I recently did a podcast about technical SEO, and I think this keyword started to rank because I had that podcast episode. So starting to brainstorm keywords that could be related to your offers or your opt-ins that you're launching in the next quarter is really motivating and really exciting, because you suddenly have this direct approach to what you're selling, and you can think about that journey that you want people to take. The other keyword I want to search for, surprise, surprise, SEO, because I will be launching and relaunching some new SEO courses in the next quarter. I'm going to look at, what am I coming up in when it comes to this topic. So wellness SEO, technical SEO, this is interesting. This is a keyword I haven't actually intentionally done before, but it looks like I'm ranking in it. SEO myths, I did a thing about that last year. So yeah, so I could definitely look at this and see if there is an opportunity for me to target one of these keywords, or maybe I already have a piece of content that that could fit into this. So both ways is fine, whether you're creating something new or if it's something existing, but this just gives you an idea of different things you can talk about. So the action steps, one last tip. So let's say, I'm interested in this wellness SEO keyword. If I click on it, again, it will filter just for this keyword. And then here, there's a tab that's pages, and I can see what pages I'm already ranking in with this, like which page is related to this keyword. So again, if I want to look at old content that I'm already, that I want to improve on, then I can pick it from this report. And so this report will say, okay, this is the page I need to be optimizing in order to rank in this keyword potentially, right? So what are the action steps from here? So from here, again, I'm going to choose my keywords. I'm going to look at, what do I want to rank in? What do I want to start ranking in? Or, what content do I want to create in the next couple of months? And it doesn't all have to be just for your blog. Some of this could be for your social media or for your podcast, right? It's all connected. I would also really get specific about what pages I want to improve. I'm really busy these days, and doing SEO is a commitment. So I need to make sure that I'm getting super specific about what pages I want to work on, and just literally writing that down, adding them to my Asana, adding them to my marketing plan is going to make my job easier. And finally, and this is really important and gets missed a lot of the time, is I'm going to set aside time. I'm going to block off time to get this done. And I know it sounds obvious, but sometimes when it comes to SEO and these kind of things, we review everything and then you kind of forget about it. And it's happened to me. So, I have an Asana project for my SEO. I have an SEO strategy document. I have time blocked off in my calendar, and I have reminders. And if for some reason I can't do it that time, I make sure to reschedule and get it done another time, because otherwise you just forget and the quarter goes by and then you've gone another 3 months without optimizing your content. And it really does make a difference. Even if you spend, an hour a week or even like an hour a month, it could make a huge difference in the long-term results of your SEO. Since SEO does take time, it's just really, really great to make these tweaks slowly over time. And it's going to make a big impact. All right, my friends. So that is it for this data date. I hope that you found this helpful, and I would love to know what your own experience is with looking at your quarterly data. Have you uncovered anything new? Have you, just made any exciting realizations that can happen sometimes when we take the time to look at our Google Analytics and as a Search Console? So you can interact with me by going to this podcast episode. It's in the comments. I'm going to have a comment section. You can go to digitalbloomiq.com/SEO/Q3 2020. I'll have it there. And in the bottom in the comments, just let me know what you learned, what you realized. And I'm happy to go through any other questions you might have around your reporting. And Choco's back to say bye. Have a great time, guys. Bye.